Kyiv is accusing Russia of deliberately targeting nuclear facilities after shells hit a nuclear plant in southern Ukraine. Moscow denies the attack, saying Ukrainian forces were responsible. The Zaporizhzhia facility is the largest in Europe. Ukraine says the shelling damaged radiation sensors and hurt a worker. United Nations Chief Antonio Guterres warned any attack on the nuclear site is suicidal. He was speaking in the Japanese city of Hiroshima after marking the 77th anniversary of the world's first nuclear attack. Guterres called for international inspectors to be allowed to inspect the site. DW's Matthias Böllinger is in Kyiv following this story for us. Matthias, what's the latest on this nuclear plant?
Well, as you said, we cannot determine where this attack came from. The plant has been under Russian occupation since the very beginning of the war. A few days after the beginning of the war, the Russians went onto the site and took control of it. Ukrainian workers are still running the plant, but the Ukrainian atomic energy authorities, they don't have control over what they are doing there. And the international organizations also do not have access to them. It's of course something that Russia has time and time used to threaten with dire consequences if Ukraine did this or that, and it has used it as a shield that's established to position military equipment there, hoping that Ukraine wouldn't dare to attack the facility. Ukraine has attacked positions near the facility with loitering munition. Loitering munitions are drones that fly over that are flown into a site and that explode on site. They are controllable. They can be, when they fly, they can be. The flights can be cancelled midway, etc., etc. So that's something that's more controllable. Rockets, of course, is a different story. Rockets, once they fly, they fly. Most modern rockets are adjustable when they're already in the air, but they cannot be stopped.
Mm-hmm. On the battle for the Donbass region, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has warned Russia about the future of any occupied areas. Let's listen in for a second to his latest video address.
The position of our state remains the same. We will not give away anything that belongs to us. When the occupiers follow the path of these pseudo-referendums, they will close for themselves any possibility of negotiations with Ukraine and the free world, which the Russian side would definitely need at a certain point.
Has it got that far? Are more Russian-occupied parts of the country facing so-called referendums?
That's what many people fear, because Russia has announced these referendums time and time again, and it has then cancelled them because it's very difficult at the moment, I think, for them to do these referendums. Many people have fled the areas, and the Russian officials, the Russian proxies who are running these areas as mayors, as governors, etc., they are facing a permanent threat from Ukrainian partisans, and they're targeted by Ukrainian partisans. So it's not easy to organize these referendums for Russia right now, but Russia wants to hold them, especially in the southern regions, in the Kherson and the occupied parts of the Zaporizhzhia region, the Donbass region. They have already proclaimed so-called independence many years ago, but these territories in the south, they remain occupied also from a Russian perspective, and expectations are that this might happen sometime in September, but this is of course something that we will have to see. There is no official date yet.
And Matthias, 2 more grain ships have left Ukraine's Black Sea ports. Just this morning, Turkey's defense ministry said there was a lot of skepticism when Russia and Ukraine breached their separate deals with both Turkey and the UN, but 2 weeks on, this all seems to be working.
Yeah, at the moment it is working. Skepticism hasn't vanished. It's still there, because this scheme would need to work for 9 or 8 months in order to bring out all the grain that is either stocked in Ukrainian grain stocks already, or that will be added with this year's harvest. So this will have to be a stable arrangement for a very long time. And as nothing is stable in this war, and as there is the suspicion that Russia might have an interest in sabotaging this, that's of course what the Ukrainians feel these grain shipments might come to an end at some point. At the moment, they're running. Today's ships were the fourth batch. Actually, the first one was a single ship, and then there were convoys of ships leaving. Today, also, it was the first ship leaving from the port of Yuzhny. That's the third port in this agreement. So all the three ports are now operational, and 10 out of 16 ships have left. These ships were in the ports in the beginning of the war. They were stuck there. They have been sitting in the ports for all these 6 months now. Actually, even a little bit before the war, when Russia already held drills in the Black Sea, they were stuck there. And yesterday, also, the first empty ship sailed into a Ukrainian port and is ready to be filled with grain and to leave then again once these other ships have left. So at the moment, it looks like a stable scheme, and of course the hope is to get out as much as possible for as long as possible.
You heard it from Matthias Böllinger, our correspondent in the capital, Kyiv. So as we heard there, more ships have been leaving Ukraine carrying corn and soybean, for example. But the first of those vessels has still not reached its destination in Lebanon.